Hello, today is December 10th, 2017, and the time is 4:53 p.m. This video is inspired by a news article that caught my attention today. I was somewhere and they had a newspaper sitting, and I glanced at the cover page, and that actually inspired me to spend $1.50 I don't have to get the newspaper. And I'm going to read a few parts of this bullshit article, and I'm going to read a few sections of this bullshit article. It's mind-numbing. So, as it reads, police to allow independent review of cases deemed unfounded, on page 6. The title is Silent No More. Empowered by global #MeToo campaign, sex assault victims find voice to expose crimes, pages 4 to 5. Now, right off the top, on the first page, it says sex assault victims. It should read alleged sexual assault, because the way they printed it is automatic assumption that they are victims. Words have meaning. I've said this before in other videos. So subconsciously or even consciously, people read that and they automatically assume that someone makes an allegation, it must be truthful. So if I flip through to page 4, as you read through the article, it just goes on about victims, victims, victims. Not alleged victims, but they're victims, simply because they have made an allegation. The article then gets into the Hollywood scandals, and all these women that have come forward saying that they were raped and forced and all this other stuff. Never any mention about how women use sex and sexuality as a tool to achieve their goals, just like a real predator would. Now it says here, in 2013, the nonprofit provided some 1,733 counseling sessions for victims of harassment and abuse. That number had more than doubled by last year. Well, what we don't hear about is that in 2013, there's at least one case where these so-called nonprofit professional counselors had helped and aided a liar. We don't hear about that. Dealing with, regardless of what has turned into now. Started off as a false accusation by a female, and then evolved into a police brutality case and court corruption, and here I am. I've shared a lot more details in other videos, so I encourage you to go watch them. But that female had seven to eight different agencies specifically to help females come up and try to destroy my life, and none of them realized what I was up to. So in 2013, that alleged number of 1,733 we can chop down to 1,732. Now, in the article, it states that these unsubstantiated claims and so forth are 9%. That's a lie too. Because when I was in the province of my origin, there was a newspaper article that had the number to 30 to 40%. And my comment to that was, it's higher than that. So this news agency is simply spent 4 pages, including the cover page, propagating lies. There is a quote by one of these feminist support group women saying, "Sexual assault centers are absolutely overrun. We're all in a crisis." The only crisis is feminism. There's no crisis. Now, what's interesting, that all these support groups and everything asks, all these idiots are being given millions and millions of dollars. And if I flip over to page 6, police to open files. Job security for them, because now they can ask for more money and hire more people, and, well, there goes civilization. Now, this page 6 hits home for me and countless of other people. What we are experiencing today in civilization is exactly what previous civilizations, all the way to ancient times, experienced prior to their demise. You have all these social justice warrior busybody types and everything else. They've become the majority, and they've weaseled their way into positions of authority. Common sense, critical thinking, all these things are done. I remember a number of years ago, I was talking to a friend about my case, and I've been talking about this openly since it happened to me. And one of the things that I said to this person was, this person being a male, I said, you know, this could happen to anyone. It happened to me, it could happen to you. And this person wasn't disputing what I was saying, but they didn't see the likelihood of it happening to them. Apparently about 3:30 in the morning, there was a knock on his door, and the police had mentioned that there was an accusation of a sexual crime of some sort. Fortunately for my friend, nothing transpired because the officers who arrived were not jumping to any conclusions. And apparently the person, this female, story changed so much within minutes that they kind of figured, well, there's, if I'm not mistaken, the female ended up getting arrested. Now, why couldn't have I had those kind of cops interact with me back in 2012 and 2013? I got stuck with a couple of fucktards. So this whole hashtag #MeToo bullshit is just another example of the nail in the coffin of this civilization. So what we have is everything spinning out of control. We have the gays, we have the trannies, we have everyone screaming rights, and we're beyond the point of repair. The best thing to do is to go as far away from everything as you can, sit back, let it all burn to the ground. Whoever's left, start all over, and hopefully we don't make the same mistakes again. And this is the problem when history is rewritten, revised. Because how else do future generations learn from their mistakes? Rewriting history. And this is why we as a species keep making the same mistakes. Now, what's interesting to note is there is a belief system out there who apparently, allegedly, says that women, their voice is worth half a man's. It must be covered. They're very strict and brutal when it comes to gays and trannies and all these people. And I'm not condoning it. I'm not speaking as a voice for them or any belief system, because all these belief systems, just another dream that people find themselves in who claim that they're awake. This particular belief system which I'm referring to, and I'm sure people know which one I'm talking about, we are in the midst here in the Western culture, a demise. And this belief system, whenever they started piecing this together, had the same issues. And they came up with extreme solutions. These extreme solutions were probably to try to create a balance in their society, and rather than once achieved the balance, they just continued on with it. So from the perspective of what we have going on in the West, they're crazy. They're looking to the West going, they're crazy. Two extremes. But here's what's going to happen. The Western culture with feminism and all this nonsense is going to find a solution. And that solution is going to be with this belief system. This is why that belief system, from afar, supports feminism and trannies and gays and all these people. On their home turf, they won't put up with it. And this is why feminists and all these groups support them, because they're being supported and They don't see what's going to end up happening. Because once that belief system becomes the standard over here in the West, they're going to regret what they've done. It'll be way too late. So all this ties in to the article. This hashtag #MeToo nonsense, it's not going to work. It's even, in fact, turning on the people within the system who, either by job title or whatever, have to support it, and it's turning it on them. Just last week, on the same paper, there was an article how women within this police force in this city are complaining and crying like a bunch of little crybabies about being harassed and bullied and sexually harassed and all this other nonsense. The snake is eating its own tail. So that news article, right off the top on the first page, should have said alleged victims. We read 2013, all these alleged sex crimes and these support groups. Well, as I said, there's at least one that I know of and can prove it's a lie, so that's one down.